With WCW last week drawing its most watched Nitro in a year, the company decided to go all out in hopes of capitalizing on its second straight unopposed Monday, heavily hyping during the week a huge main event involving every available top star in the company in a triple cage war games match for the title billed as Russo's Revenge, debuting the massive structure on television for the first time that was originally built for the Ready to Rumble movie and was only used once in April, as with Russo himself set to work the match on the heel team of Nash, Steiner and Jarrett. Last Monday during the in-ring segment of Russo, Vito and Goldberg, Russo reportedly suffered another major blow from Vito's shots, with him again suffering from concussion symptoms during the week, coming after already being injured during the Ric Flair cage match in June that ended up with him taken off the road with headaches and blurred vision. With Russo, despite more potential damage coming tonight in a wild cage match, continuing to work through it, knowing the big opportunity the company has to build momentum going unopposed on the way to Raw's September 25th TNN debut. Russo came out to hype the main event, explaining the rules while listing both heel and babyface teams, with change in the rules of the winner being the first one to escape with the belt in the bottom cage, putting obstacles for the babyface team with each one having to win qualifying matches, while adding more hype to the match, saying that for one night only he will waive the non-physicality clause between him and Goldberg to build to Goldberg getting him in the cage, bringing out Nash turning against Russo for putting his belt on the line tonight, with Russo and Nash taking shots back and forth, leading to Sting followed by the rest of the War Games participants coming out to preview the match with a brawl all over the cage, with this segment bumping Nitro over 900,000 viewers to a 3.3 rating already in the second quarter. As promised, after losing the bet to Vince Russo last week, with the first quarter on Nitro opening with a 2.6 rating, Jeremy Borash had his head shaved on the air while in return getting the biggest opportunity of his career to date, as with the stipulation originally set for Borash to shave his head while getting to call a match on the Nitro broadcast for the first time. Regular announcer Scott Hudson had a family emergency hours before the show went on the air, to lead to Borash getting a massive chance with the decision to let him join Tony and Madden on the commentary table for the entire 2 hours, as with Borash, in addition to hosting the WCW internet shows on the company website, invited by Russo to sit in production meetings on Wednesdays and Thursdays with Ed Ferrara, detailing the current creative process in the company in an interview with Borash during the week, saying that Russo writes the entire Nitro script after the Wednesday meeting before sending it to Ferrara, who writes the full Thunder script over the next day, before the final creative meeting to suggest ideas and finalize the shows. Nitro climbed to a 3.4 rating to close the first hour, having Sting and Booker's qualifier matches going over Vampiro and Stevie Ray to advance to the main event, with the third qualifying match seeing Cat being booked by Russo in a handicap match against Kronik after being attacked by the Harris brothers in a bar before returning to the building, with them going over to instead take his place in the War Games match. After answering an open challenge last week to quickly take him out, Goldberg's qualifying match was booked against Shane Douglas, this time in an official match, being placed in the major time slot at 9 p.m. to potentially hook regular Raw viewers who switch channels after seeing that Raw is not on the air, in a formula that last week saw the Booker vs. Nash title match spiking big with over 1 million viewers, with the Goldberg vs. Douglas match going 4 minutes at the top of the hour to gain over 500,000 viewers to a 3.7 rating, ending up with Goldberg going over after also taking out the entire Thrillers group to set up the hyped Goldberg-Russo confrontation in the cage in less than an hour. With next week's Nitro coming from Charlotte, North Carolina with a David Flair-Stacy Keibler wedding advertised for the show, Arn Anderson all but confirmed the TV return of Ric Flair set for next Monday, as with WCW already looking to carry the momentum from the past 2 weeks and with Raw just coming back to its 9 p.m. time slot for the first time since August 21st. Two major proven rating attractions, with one being Ric Flair and the second being the wedding concept, combined with the reformed heel group of Russo, Nash, Steiner and Jarrett against Goldberg, Sting and Booker, would lead to the most optimistic expectations for WCW on an opposed night against Raw in months, while on the night the second hour of Nitro between 9 to 10 p.m. faced the US Open, which preempted Raw on the USA Network, drawing a 1.5 rating, being almost tripled by Nitro's 4 rating head-to-head. As with the War Games cage match set to go long with separate entrances, Nitro had a Vito vs. Natural Born Thrillers gauntlet match going 3 minutes, followed by 2 commercial breaks in a short span just before the main event. The entrances for the main event took place at 9:40 p.m. with a 20-minute commercial-free block set to end the broadcast, going 19 minutes in the longest match on Nitro since the Bret Hart vs. Chris Benoit Owen tribute match last October, seeing Jarrett and Sting as the first two out, followed by Steiner, Kronik, Russo, Nash and Booker, with Goldberg saved for the last entrance, as the big star power match in one of the biggest spectacles in show history proved to be a huge success, setting several rating and viewership milestones for WCW in over a year, jumping huge with over 1.4 million viewers to a big 4.8 rating, making it the joint highest rated quarter on the WCW broadcast since close to its peak period in April 1999, and furthermore, although Raw had the disadvantage of starting 2 hours later, the 4.8 rating for the Triple Cage War Games outdrew any segment on the Raw broadcast to make it the first time WCW had the highest rated segment when both shows aired on the same night since August, with the match strategically booked to several stages, ending up with Goldberg breaking the handcuffs and taking out Nash, Steiner and Jarrett before finally getting to Russo, having the match won until Bret Hart made a surprise return to cost him the title just as Nash and Russo revealed the swerve of them working together to lead to Nash retaining, with the match in the loaded show in general driving Nitro to its highest rated and most watched show in a year with a 3.6 rating overall, even going against strong competition on the night coming on a holiday weekend and the first week of the NFL season, with the company now showing signs of positive momentum looking at next week as the big test of how much of the big additional audience WCW would be able to retain with head-to-head competition resuming next Monday.